What's up guys, my name's Curtis and welcome to 5 Minute Finance, where I take personal finance topics and explain them to you in 5 minutes or less. The past year and a half or so has been hard on everyone, there's no doubt about that. It's been especially hard on people in terms of personal finance. Things like job loss, manufacturing shutdowns, poor market timing, and a plethora of other things have caused people's finances to take a dip recently. But there's one stat that bothers me quite a bit, however at the same time sheds a glimmer of hope on the future of people's finances. And that is, at least here in America, the personal savings rate. I'll bring up the United States personal savings rate over the last 5 years to depict to you guys what I'm talking about. The reason this bothers me is when times were good from around 2010 through the first part of 2020, the average person was saving less than 10% of their income, which is extremely low. As soon as the pandemic really started to take off, that number skyrocketed to over 30%. Now, I am willing to bet that some of that at least was caused by the shutdown of things like bars, restaurants, live events and such, but people were still realizing that they needed to save more than they already were. But then, just as quickly as it went up, that personal savings rate again started to come back down to earth. This really grinds my gears because people only seem to practice good financial behaviors such as saving more of their money when times are bad. As soon as there's light at the end of the tunnel in terms of the economic situation, people often go back to their irresponsible spending patterns. This is completely backward in my opinion. We should be saving as much as possible when times are good. Then, when the economy takes a negative turn, which it inevitably will eventually, we can use our savings to get us through those bad times. Or we can even buy investments while markets are down. If we have a good budget and financial plan in place, then realistically our savings rate shouldn't change all that much when times are good and when times are bad. Sure, even the smartest people with money might increase their savings a little bit during bad times, but when the average savings rate quadruples, that at least tells me that a lot of people didn't have a solid financial plan in place ahead of time. With that being said, I do think there's a glimmer of hope when it comes to how much people save going forward. I know the pandemic isn't completely over yet, but even after that massive spike, we're still seeing savings rate hover between 15 to 20%, which is much higher than it was pre-pandemic. I think people are starting to realize that they truly can increase their savings rate comfortably, and maybe they don't truly need to do things like going to the bar or going out to eat as often as they did before the pandemic. That is my hope, but then again, we have seen savings rates increase during times of uncertainty or fear, only to see them fall back down as soon as that fear had resided. For example, during the 2012 election, we saw savings rates spike quite a bit, only to fall back down just a few short months later. So, if you're someone watching this video who did dramatically increase their savings rate over the past year or so, try your best to keep that savings rate the same as the economy and more businesses start to reopen. The number one indicator of high value retirement accounts is not the rate of return the person got, it's the savings rate or how much they put in. In other words, as obvious as it sounds, the more you can put into your investments, the more you're going to have when you go to withdraw from them. And solid rates of return only help that even more. I hope this video helped you guys understand my point of view of why I think a lot of people have this whole savings rate thing kind of backwards. And you should always save as much as you can, whether times are good or bad. If you guys enjoyed this video, it would really help me out if you gave it a thumbs up. And if you're new around here and want to see more personal finance videos in the future, click on this globe right here to subscribe. And as always, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos.